sinners, and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alan After Dark.
Sinners and saints, bitches and taints, you know what sucks today? The fact that this is a recording of this week's episode that is the second attempt. Even my recording software is fighting me. I don't know if you can appreciate that, but yada yada yada, wimbalangba ding dong, everything's going to fuck. So how are you all doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're sexy. I hope you're feeling pussy, wussy, nussy, dicky, wicky, sucky, fucky, etc., etc., etc. I myself, of course, am going to be probably a little bit of a whiny little bitch tonight. So bear with me. I hope you can have some laughter time for the next few minutes as you hang out with me, because I know that hanging out with all of you makes me feel better every week. Oh, and for all the guys that are listening right now, please feel free to send me dick pics. I want to see. Thank you.
Awooga.
Oh my.
I gotta tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I had dinner with a new friend, and let me just describe him as intelligent, fun, sexy as hell. Yeah, I'd totally do him, but we'll see about that. The friendship is really good, and the flirtation is really good, and I really do like him, and I enjoy him. When we had dinner, I brought up that the night before I wasn't able to go to happy hour because I had had too much to drink the night before that, and I felt too hungover, and I felt like my body was telling me, or more likely it was warning me, not to drink much more right then because it could do damage. And he brought up a point in our discussion about how we live our lives, and I find it very interesting to think about. We only have a limited amount of time on this earth to live. And how much of it do we spend, especially at the end of our lives, unable to do the things that we want to do? How many of us want to be around if all of our friends and loved ones are gone? So if you're wanting to enjoy life and enjoy the things that you like to do, you need to do them now, because you're not guaranteed one damn minute. And even if you are, you might be too old or feeble or sick to do those things. I really did understand that, and it makes a whole lot of sense. I shouldn't feel guilty if I go out and drink on a Friday night and I go out and drink on a Saturday night. I'm just having fun with friends, and it is one of my favorite things to do. Also, on the flip side, I do not enjoy hangovers. I don't think anybody does, right? That's why they're called hangovers. They're not called love-overs, are they? So I'm going to try to stop feeling so guilty about having a good time. I'm going to live my life, and the years that I have left will be whatever they are. I have no control over that. One of my best friends, Eddie, he died in his 40s. I just hope that when he did die, that he went in a way where he could say that he had had a lot of fun during the time that he was here. Now, at 40, that's very young. I'd want to have more years than that, and I've been lucky enough to have that many more years. So many more years. I'm not going to tell you my age. That's none of your business, bitches. But when you do finally accept that you do have a finite number of years left, an unknown number, it makes it more important and worthwhile to enjoy the things you do. And my new friend, I really enjoy looking at him. But having said that, I can almost guarantee you that I was the only person on the planet this morning who, when he woke up, had to say, "Where did these mashed potatoes come from?"
I'm sorry, what?
But anyway, having said what I just said about enjoying the time you have left, you know, we've all heard the cliches. We've all heard them all our lives about enjoying life while you can, do those things that you want to do because you're not guaranteed another day. I think they do feel like cliches until you start feeling it for yourself. That's why I'm so excited about happy hour tonight, just because I get to hang out with friends, I get to flirt with friends and with possible strangers, and hot guys, look at some ass, maybe have somebody flash me their dick. I can't think of a much better way to spend a Saturday night or a Friday night. Actually, any night. Really. I can't think of a better way to spend a night out anywhere or any when. Can you all? I don't think so. Now, before you all get so angry at me, I'm not saying that you should live your life recklessly or carelessly. I'm saying that the things you like to do, you should do them. Yes, I follow my doctor's instructions. I'm on the medications to keep my blood pressure in check, my cholesterol. Yeah, I know y'all wanted to hear about that. I'm going to do the things that are going to keep me healthy, but I'm not going to give up things that make me happy. I think that's the key difference in what I'm trying to impress upon you, is that I'm not trying to say that we all should be self-destructive. I am in no mood to hurry my demise along. If I get to live another 30 years, yay. And I hope they're 30 years where I'm healthy and able to get around and enjoy life and enjoy men and not have to worry about being disabled or confined to a retirement home or what we would call an old folks home, a home for the aged, or however you want to describe it. That just gives me nightmares thinking about it, about being stuck somewhere where you're not able to leave. It feels like prison to me. I know that a lot of people who live in those homes enjoy it, the care, the attention, but here in the States, we've had so many times heard of these horror stories of people in these types of homes for the aged and disabled being abused, assaulted, raped, robbed. I know that those are the nightmare scenarios, but how can you not think about it yourself if it could be you someday in a place like that? Well, I can hear some of you saying to me, well, knowing you, Alan, you would be sucking off the male nurses and the interns. You would take that time and turn it into an opportunity, you fucking slut. And for those of you who think that, thank you so much. I would like to thank all of you for thinking that of me. Actually, I'd have to admit, yeah, I'd probably do that. Maybe I could start a new genre of porn, a different version of grandpa porn, where I'm the old guy blowing twinks and male nurses and interns in retirement homes. I know there's a market for that. You all know that too, don't you? We are a kinky species, aren't we? There is nothing under the sun that we can't think of that we can't turn it into a perversion.
Balls are not a toy.
Where the fuck is my drink? I had it right here, and what did I do with it? Jesus Christ. My God, this isn't as fun talking to you guys if I don't have a cocktail handy. Jesus. Oh, it's behind the... Okay, there it is. Shit. Damn it, you're all going to think I'm absolutely fucked up and crazy tonight. Why should it not be any different than any other night, though, right? Son, that's good drinking, I'm telling you. I do hope that there's plenty of dick around tonight at happy hour. I'm hoping to indulge all of my primal urges, which means I'll probably be home by 7:30 or 8 o'clock with a little bit of a buzz and probably eating Burger King Impossible Whopper, much to my detriment. It is really fascinating how, as I've gotten older, you don't even realize it at first, but how your behaviors change. You do become the older adult instead of the reckless, crazy kid that you once were. And I don't want to say that in a way that sounds like regret, but how can you not miss the days when you were swinging naked from the men's room stall with 5 guys wanting to bonk you?
Yeehaw!
Yeah, that could happen in that retirement home, couldn't it? I need to think more positively about that, don't I? Those May-December relationships, you know, they do sometimes happen in a non-romantic way, i.e. butt fucking, pounding, sucking, etc. Jesus, boy, that sounded almost violent how I said that. God, maybe I should have a gummy. You think? Sounds like a plan. I don't think I have to tell any of you what's been going on in Tennessee, right? I don't know if you heard a few weeks back that the Supreme Court of the United States refused to hear the Tennessee case, which left the lower court's decision in place, which means that they're going to enforce the anti-drag law in Tennessee, which is totally an assault on the First Amendment. But in this country, they don't give a shit. They're trying here to remove immigrant children from our public schools, which is the biggest crock of shit you can ever think of, just trying to be as cruel as they possibly can. I guess, a person of my age, I'm used to the fascist Republicans, but those younger people, I talked about it a few weeks ago, how I just don't want them to have to experience all the hardships and heartaches and troubles that we had to go through just to get to marriage equality and to be treated with dignity and respect by our own government. And here we are again with these fucked up southern states in the Bible Belt that are trying to bash us left and right while these ministers are out here molesting every child they can get their hands on. Motherfuckers. Oh, this episode should be more about dick, shouldn't it? But I have to be absolutely candid and honest about it. With all the crap we're going through here in Tennessee, our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, in Russia, in the Middle East, in Africa, around the world that are struggling against these vile, disgusting government assaults on our basic freedoms. I can't forget what all they are going through, and that in comparison, we still have it pretty good here in the States, regardless of the fucking fascist known as the Republican Party. I think the lowest of the low was just the other day when the orange turd posted that meme type thing of the pink triangle with a slash through it. Obviously not understanding that the pink triangle to the gay community is a remembrance of the gay men that were slaughtered and imprisoned during the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. And if he was trying to offend us, congratulations. I mean, we're already offended by everything that twat waffle does, but you just think, there's got to be a low that they can actually sink to, and you realize that there isn't one. So, fuck everybody who supports him. Fuck everybody around the world that supports fascism. I will celebrate when fascism is finally destroyed. Well, I guess I won't be celebrating, will I? Because it never will totally, but maybe it'll go back into the closet where they'll have to hide behind their white mask and their robes and shit. The fucking cowards that they really are, bitches. The other night at happy hour, I ran into an old friend. He doesn't come out to happy hour as much anymore. He probably goes out later still compared to what time I go out. But we were chatting and I brought up the name of a person. Let's say, we'll call him Jack. Now, guys, don't forget, the names are changed to protect the guilty, the innocent, and the satisfied. So I brought up Jack because my friend and he became really close after Jack and I had our split. And he just rolled his eyes and he goes, I haven't spoken with him in years. And I got to thinking about that. I got to thinking about all the guys that are still around, but you're not as close with them as you used to be. There are some guys that come out that I haven't seen in a while, and it's like no time has passed. We just pick right up and it's as great as it was back then. And then there's others who I see and they act like they're almost embarrassed to be reminded that we were friends. Now, I'm not trying to play some sort of like innocent virgin here or something that a satanic cult could sacrifice in a pinch. I'm just saying it feels weird, especially if you don't know what you might have done. And of course, a person like me that has self-esteem issues, I automatically assume it must have been something that I've done. It couldn't be some other reason. But I know that there are some where they might have asked me a question and I told them what I felt was the truth and they didn't like the response I gave. There's people like that. And there are others who probably just want to pretend like they don't know me. What is it that people talk about? It's like, you know who your true friends are when you're not around and they defend you to someone else who's criticizing you. I guess that's the way I feel about some of these guys. I feel like they've heard something from somebody else and they just took it for face value and didn't bother to ask me. I know I've mentioned that sometime in the past on the podcast, but you know what? Time for a little refresher. But then I have to ask myself, would I want to go back to some of those relationships? Of course, the answer is yes and no. It's not going to be 100% either way. There are some that I turned out just fine without them, and there are others that I do really miss. But that's life too, right? Of course it is. Nothing can be just straightforward and not have any parameters or factors that play into the dynamics of your relationships, your friendships. But it is funny. I have dated people and we're still friends, but there are some of my exes that I never want to see again. I think it would dredge up bad memories. And so maybe these former friends have bad memories of us, maybe. And I'm just not thinking clearly about it. And sometimes I think their behavior is almost designed to just get under your skin. But what can I say? Men are pigs. But Jack, he is someone that I cared very deeply for. We were very, very close. Even one of his cousins, we were out shopping one day and his cousin was with us. And she says, you two talk to each other like an old married couple. And I really kind of liked that because I thought that was the bond that we had. Now, I can say part of the reason why we are not friends anymore is because of his politics. He is a gay person who votes for people who are anti-gay. I can't fathom that. I can't believe that you would ever vote for someone that would want to take away your rights. That was one mountain that was too hard to climb, and it was going to lead to the demise of our relationship no matter what. It disappoints me. When we got into one of our last arguments about it, he said, you're always so angry about what I believe. And I said, I'm not so much angry as I am disappointed. I just couldn't fathom why. And even if he tried to argue his points and defend it, he could never argue my main point, is that the people that you're voting for are people that want you to not be considered equal. So I have to assume that you don't think you should be equal. I'll tell you this too, and I'm going to tiptoe on some thin ice here. He tended to date men, young men, who we would consider femme. And I know I'm falling into some societal or cultural definitions there, but there is an old thinking that gay men who have problems accepting their sexuality, they will sometimes date men who come off as effeminate because it's the next closest thing to that person being a woman, that by somehow conforming to gender roles that are defined by religion or by Republicans, that somehow you are fitting that male-female requirement that they expect. You know, it's like that time that woman asked me, well, which one's the female? I think that there are gay guys that are trying to fit those roles, believing that their families will accept them if they can see a male and female in their relationship. And so somehow in their inability to accept themselves, they found this compromise that they think that maybe their families would be more inclined to accept someone who they viewed as femme versus a macho fireman who could chew glass. But I could be totally off on that too. I could be just totally misreading the whole situation. But I do know that there have been lots of men that I've known in my life that have struggled with understanding their sexuality, accepting it, and they will try to create scenarios that makes it more acceptable, at least in the views of their family. For me, I never really have cared what my family thought. They play no part. They're not a factor in my decisions about my relationships or anything. I think sometimes some gay men have guilt. They feel guilty for being gay. Like they let down their parents, that their parents wanted a straight son who would give them grandchildren, and part of that is the reason why they have trouble dealing with it. But Jack, I still think to this day, has never really fully accepted himself to a point where he could be proud of himself to celebrate being gay versus voting for people who maybe his family wants him to vote that way. Maybe he uses it as a disguise, a camouflage for who he really is, convincing himself that he's not worthy of being equal. I mean, literally voting for people just to make your parents or your family think that if you vote that way, you can't be gay because gay people wouldn't vote for people opposed to their rights. To me, that really is a tragedy. Whoa, what an episode this has been. Thank you for listening. I hope you've had some fun, been entertained, or challenged. Hopefully you don't want to slap the shit out of me, but so be it. Remember, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.